Hi, welcome back, guys. This is your friend the Momo Fanfics back with amazing fanfiction. This series of What If Naruto is ranked criminals transferred to world full of quirks. Recovering quickly from the punch, I use my hands to slow myself down on the floor, hitting a few paper bombs causing smoke to fill the area. Twisting my body and pushing myself back onto my feet. Sensing another attack coming my way, I swiftly dodge it before going to send a punch of my own. Once I made sure Itachi was far enough away, I started to do hand signs. Horse, serpent, ram, monkey, boar, horse, tiger, fire style, fireball jutsu. I whisper before letting out a ball of fire from my mouth, making sure to not point it in Ida's direction. Once all the bombs went off, I quickly ran over to the confused boy and grabbed his arm and helping move the weapon. Suddenly the ground shook. I quickly put chakra to my feet to hold myself down. "You good?" I questioned, glancing at the taller boy before looking around for Itachi. "I'm quite fine, but does Bakugo think he's doing? He's going to lose this for us both. That means we'll just have to win this without him. Ida, I want you to use your quirk to move around the room and don't stop. We have around 5 minutes left. I'll keep trying to distract Itachi while you move around." He nods before picking up the weapon. "Get ready." A kunai flies towards my head. "Now." He quickly runs off as I feel someone grab onto my leg, trying to bring me down onto the floor. Grabbing another kunai hit whatever was there before jumping back. The smoke started to clear as I got a clear view of Itachi standing on the other side of the room. Charging at him, I go to send a kick into his side. He quickly blocks it as I throw a right punch right at the pillar behind him as he kneels down. Breaking the pillar in half, he tries to swipe my feet, but I quickly jump up and make a little distance. Shit, what do I do? He knows what I'm going to do even without his sharing it. Think after a few short seconds of Itachi and me going in hand-to-hand combat, I think of an idea. It might be risky, but it's fine. I'll deal with the consequences later. Dog, tiger, monkey. The awful sound of birds screeching can be heard. A lighting ball in my hand. I watch Itachi's eyes widen for a second before going back to the cold, calculating gaze. Running at him, I aim my arm towards him, but before I could reach him, moving the direction of my arm towards the ground and into the floor. The floor starts cracking before a hole breaks through the ground in a matter of seconds, pieces falling everywhere. As we fall, I feel a hand grabbing my arm before throwing me off to the side as another loud boom goes off. I could see an even bigger hole being created as Itachi jumps back up. Quickly following him as he launches himself towards the weapon, I'm able to grip his arm before going to slam him onto the floor. His fingers glazing over the weapon. The hero team wins. Okay, what the flip? I can feel my eye twitching as I help Itachi stand back up. That stupid fucking blonde kid. I swear I'm going to kill him. And it's okay, it's dumb training. Think of it as when you train with Pain-sama. You get beat all the time. That was not helpful at all, but thanks for trying, I say sarcastically, patting his back slightly. I could see him rolling his eyes playfully before making eye contact again. What I'm trying to say is you don't need to win every fight you have and be perfect all the time, okay? You still have a lot of room to gain more power than you do already. Those were some very inspirational words, young Uchiha. A big hand landed on my shoulder as I whipped my head around to come face to face with All Might. Your brother has some good points. Whether you win or lose, you can always come out ahead by learning from the experience. Yeah, you have no idea the experience I've had. We held eye contact for a couple seconds before he let go off our shoulders and standing up straight. "Let's head back. Time for your gradings," he says as he starts to walk towards the outside of the building. The losing team is nearly unscathed, while the winners are down for the count. 4. They lost the battle, but they won the war, so to speak. It's just training, though. Walking back to the monitor room, I could hear the praise and comments about the fight just held. All Might has us all stand in the front of the room. Well, I'd say, the VIP. In this battle was Ida. My jaw drops slightly at the news. This place just keeps making me want to rip my eyeballs out more every second I stay here. Wah? Ida exclaimed shocked. Me too, bro, me too. Not Uchiha or Midoriya, even though they won. The girl who resembles a frog questions. I wonder why. Anyone know? All Might throws his arm up into the air. I do, All Might sensei. We all turn to face a girl with a big ponytail. It's because Ida was most able to adapt to the scenario. Bro, I literally am considered a villain. How the fuck did I not adapt enough? Rigged. From what I saw, Bakugo's every action was motivated by an obvious personal grudge. And as you mentioned before, sensei, using destructive attacks indoors is foolish. Midoriya and Uchiha's performance suffered from the same faults. Foolish, my ass motherfucker. I barely even ruined the building. Your Araka lost focus halfway through and her final attack was far too haphazard. Such an attack would be unthinkable if the nuclear weapon were real. Uchiha lastly kept disappearing and not communicating as well with his teammates throughout the exercise. If he had talked to his teammates a bit more, they would have had an even higher chance of winning. But Ida formed an actual counter-strategy, and he envisioned what the actual struggle would be like. He was only too late in reacting at the very end. The hero team only won because this was a training exercise with exploitable constraints. The room was dead silent as I stood there dumbfounded. She did not just say 4 eyes did all the work that I literally did. Excuse me, but I'd like to add something, Ida announces, raising his hand. I shouldn't be taking all the credit for this work. In was the one who came up with all the plans and counter-plans, as well as fighting without Bakugo helping. I merely followed what her instructions were. Even with some of her moves were risky, she had everything planned perfectly to make sure everything worked out. In was truly remarkable. My jaw dropped even lower at what Ida said. He doesn't need to know I made half of those decisions on impulse. Good job, boys and girls. Next up we have Team B as the heroes and Team I as the villains. I start to walk towards the back of the room and towards the other Akatsuki members, Itachi following behind me. Once I reach them, I go sit down against the wall, beside Kisama who's standing. I lean my head against his leg as I close my eyes and let out a sigh. I'm gonna take a nap. Night. Yeah, whatever. I feel his hand ruffling my hair. After a few seconds, he retracts his arm and starts paying attention to the fights. I was woken up by a slight shake, letting out a yawn. I stand up slowly before stretching my back, listening to the satisfying crack. What did I miss? I question, looking around the room. No one really seemed hurt other than a few scratches here and there. Nothing really. The fights were some of the most boring things I've watched, Deidara comments, walking beside me as we walked out of the monitor room and outside. Yay, they were so boring. I almost fell asleep too, Tobai says, a big skip in his step. Once we finally reached outside, everyone stopped as All Might started talking. Well done, everyone. No serious injuries, apart from Midoriya's. Great teamwork, though. You all did splendidly, considering this was your first training exercise. Coming after Aizawa-sensei. Such a straightforward class is almost a letdown. We teachers are free to hold no-nonsense classes if we choose. Now, I'm off to give Midoriya his evaluation. Change out of those costumes and head back to the classroom. All Might dashes away, a gust of wind going by. Everyone started to leave the area to go change out of them. I notice Boom Boom Boy sulking at the back of the group as I halt, waiting for him to get closer. You know, you're the reason we lost, right? So stop sulking. Your big ego won't help you get anywhere, I say once he's around a foot away, sending a glare at him before turning on my heel and catching up with the other Akatsuki members. Kaken, Midoriya says, running up the grumpy blonde boy walking out of school. Eh? I can't say much. But you know this, at least. I got my quirk from someone else. I can't say from who. But this is like a conversation right out of a comic book. On top of that, I can't even use it right yet. This borrowed power. It's still pretty useless to me. That's why. I tried to beat you without it. But I couldn't. I had to rely on it. You could hear Bakugo's teeth grinding in anger as Midoriya continued talking. I've got a ways to go. That's why. I'm going to make it my own someday. What the hell? Borrowed power. No clue what you're talking about, but I guess you're gonna just keep making a fool out of me. Right, I mean, what the hell? I lost to you today? And as if that weren't enough. That icy bastard. No way I can measure up to him either. Same with those stupid siblings and the rest of their group. Damn it. Ponytail Girl said it all, really. Damn it. Damn it. Why? You two Deku. From here on, you hear me? I'm gonna beat you all. Turning away, Bakugo starts to walk closer towards the gate. Enjoy your win. It'll never happen again. Damn it. Is he crying? I questioned from beside Midoriya. The boy let out a shriek as he turned to me. Suddenly, there was a big whoosh going by. All Might going to grab a hold of Bakugo's shoulder. And let's go, Itachi says, walking up behind me with everyone else. I've been ready. You guys are the ones that are slow, I reply, as we start walking towards the exit. Walking past All Might and Bakugo, the shorter blonde sends a harsh glare in our direction. Once we were past the gates of the school and walking down the sidewalk, I let out a sigh. I really hate that dude. Standing inside an abandoned bar, a group of 11 wore black cloaks with red clouds. Everyone had straw hats, along with a black mask, hiding their faces except for a man with a giant green Venus flytrap around his head. A man with silver hair and a man with bright green eyes. Well, it's great to see you all decided to show up. I think you'll like what my client has to offer, Jiren says, a smirk on his face as he looks down at his wristwatch. Speaking of which, he should be out here any minute now, right? He looks towards the guy that was covered in mist, polishing cups behind the bar. Young master should be out very shortly. He's finishing some workup. Well, if he can't make the time for us, then this won't work out. A woman's voice can be heard from the front of the group, beside a taller figure who stood right at the front. Please, we're just a little behind schedule with everything that's been happening today, Jiren says, putting his hands up and waving them. Suddenly, one of the doors at the back open. Out comes a guy with greasy blue hair and hands attached to different parts of his body. Who are these losers? And what's with the hats? They look dumb, he says bluntly, walking to sit over at one of the bar stools. Everyone stares at the boy with disbelief. Shigaraki Tamura, watch how you speak to our guests. They can be a very valuable partnership and will benefit greatly us in the future. Sorry about him. He's always been grumpy like that. Let's forget about this and continue the meeting. Care for a drink? Jiren questions, moving closer towards the group. That won't be necessary. A deep voice could be heard from the man standing right at the front. We're here to discuss your plan to evade the school at some point in the near future. How did you? Unnecessary questions won't be needed. I'm willing to send 2 of my men along with your plan. All I need are the details of your mission, and we have a deal. You see this? The man know, as Shigaraki says, grabbing a newspaper that was laying on top of the bar. He was holding it with one finger lifted. Interesting. He's a teacher now. He opens up to the page that read All Might to teach at UA. Now what would happen? If villains killed the symbol of peace? The symbol of peace would be dead. Duh. Another female voice could be heard from behind the tall man. What did you just say, brat? He reaches a hand out towards the girl before another hand grabbed the man's wrist. Red nail polish and a ring around the thumb of the hand could be seen. Choose your next actions carefully, Shigaraki Tamura. You're lucky I've been kind enough to give you these second chances. Squeezing his wrist tighter. If you make one more wrong move, I will level this whole area with the raise of my hand, He releases the man's hand with slight force, causing the blue-haired man to stumble back a bit. I apologize for his behavior. He's been quite restless lately with the upcoming plans. A voice could be heard on the TV over on the shelf behind the bar. Master. Hush, Tamra. The blue-haired man quickly shuts up before slumping back into the chair. Tamra's plan is to infiltrate into one of UA class and eliminate All Might, which you've already come to that conclusion. We have approximately 100 villains for the plan. When and where will this plan be happening? The green-eyed man questioned, his arms crossed. That will be told in due time. Well, if we don't have this information within the next 4 days, unfortunately, we cannot proceed in working together. We'll be taking our leave now. Looking over at the mist man as he opened a wrapped gate to a forest. I'll hope to hear from you soon. The group steps through the portal before it vanished, leaving the 3 men in the bar. The TV going back to the news channel. The blue-haired man removed the hand from his face as he started to scratch his neck aggressively. He picks up the newspaper that he was holding earlier before it turned into ash from his touch. Those guys were so annoying. What's it like learning from All Might? Tell us what the symbol of peace looks like in front of the class. Tell us about All Might, the teacher. We pushed through these news reports, blocking the path to get to the gate as they shoved cameras and microphones into our faces. Aizawa-sensei stood in front of the gate, trying to shoo them off. He's off today. You're interrupting our classes. Please leave. The tired man said, using his hand to make shooing motions as a mic was shoved into his face. Walking through the gates and down the pathway, you could still hear the yells of the reporters. We'd like a direct interview with All Might. Why are you so sloppy looking? I feel like I've seen him somewhere. Maybe not. Come on. We'd just like to ask All Might about... A woman reporter tried to run up and through the gate before a giant metal wall closed down, making a loud clang noise. Whoa, what the hell? I laughed a bit as I heard her yell from the other side of the gate. Come on guys, we're going to be late if you don't hurry up a bit, Sasori says from up ahead with Kasama and Itachi. Coming. Good work with yesterday's battle training. Aizawa-sensei says, placing a stack of paper down onto his desk. I've looked over your grades and evaluations. Bakugo. Grow up already. Stop wasting your talent. Got it. And? It seems Midoriya ended yet another day with a broken arm. Learn to control your quirk. Because just trying isn't going to cut it. I hate repeating myself. But you do have potential, assuming you can overcome this. Work at it, Midoriya. Okay? Now onto homeroom business. Sorry for the sudden announcement, but today. What is it? Another brutal pop quiz. You'll pick a class president. Such a normal school-like thing. Everyone raised their hand super quickly, screaming about it. I want to be president. Let me do it. I'd like to do it. In my administration, girls will have to show 30 cm of thigh. The position was made for me. I want to be a leader. I watched as they went all crazy over this class president thing. Leaning over towards Daidara's desk, I whisper as quietly as possible so others don't hear. So what's class president? No idea. I lean over to my other side to question Itachi about it. Have any clue what class president is? Well, using the context of president, I'm guessing it's a leadership role for an individual to help lead the class and make important discussion. For example, a team leader for missions, he explains, staring up at everyone fighting over the spot. Why are you always so smart? Quiet down, everyone. Looking back towards the front where Four Eyes yelled, a serious look on his face. Leading the many is a task of heavy responsibility. But ambition does not equate to ability. This sacred office demands the trust of its constituents. If this is to be a democracy, then I put forward the motion that our true leader must be chosen by election. His arm shoots up into the air for some unknown reason. This is just a classroom, not a congress. But Ida, We haven't known each other long enough to build any trust, Froggy Girl says with a tilt of her head. And everyone'll just vote for themselves, a guy with spiky red hair exclaimed, throwing his hands out. I seriously need to learn names. That's precisely why anyone who manages to earn multiple votes will be the best suited individual for the job, Ida yells, turning to face our teacher, who's in his yellow sleeping bag in the corner of the room. Will you allow this, sensei? I don't care how you do it. Just make it quick. Everyone was handed a small piece of paper, and I grab a random pencil from the ground. My new pencil, I guess. I wrote Itachi's name of the little slip of paper and putting it in the box before walking back to my desk. You seriously did it? Deidara questions as I sit back down in my seat. I'd rather have an input on someone who will actually do something good for the class rather than some loser getting chosen, I reply, watching as Tobai skipped to the front, pushing people out of the way as he did. I laughed a bit at the sight before engaging in conversation with Kisame. Everyone. I've counted all the votes and wrote them on the board. Looking over the list, I see that Midoriya Izuku, whoever that was, got 3 votes along with Yayurazu Momo, who I also had no clue who have got 2, tying with Itachi. I got 3 votes. Who the hell voted for Deku? Guess we know it wasn't you. I hear the girl with a big ponytail who sat across to my left sigh as she turned her body to face Itachi. How would you like to settle who gets vice president? Not trying to be rude or anything. You can have the spot. I'm not very interested in such leadership roles, Itachi replies, a closed-eyed smile on his face. I sent him a glare since I wasted my vote on him, slumping back into my chair with my arms crossed over my chest as I watched everyone at the front yelling. 0 votes. I thought as much. This is the harsh reality of this sacred office. 4 Eyes said as his back hunched with his hands planted on the desk up front. So you voted for someone else. You're the one who proposed an election. What exactly do you want, Ida? Fine. So your President's Midoriya and your vice president is Yayurazu. Aizawa says, stepping out of his sleeping bag. What a shame. Says seriously, Greenie exclaims, sweating bullets and shaking like a leaf. The lunch bell went off as everyone went off and towards the cafeteria. All 6 of us were eating and chatting amongst ourselves when 3 people walk over and stand in front of our table. Would you mind if we sit with you guys? Looking up in the direction of the voice, I see 4 Eyes, pink cheeks, and Greenie standing with trays of food. Before anyone could deny them, Itachi spoke up. Of course, he says with another one of his stupid smiles. This freak. I look at Kisame, Deidara and Sasori for their reactions with a raised eyebrow. Tobai was in his own little world, so I didn't worry about him too much. What is he doing? Sasori mouths to me as shrug my shoulders and slightly shake my head before going back to eating my rice. I'm just a little worried about whether or not I can really be class president. I hear Greenie say at the other end of the table. You can do it. You'll do just fine. Worry not, Midoriya. Your grit and decisiveness in a pinch make you perfectly suited to lead us all. That's why I voted for you. 4 Eyes says before putting a spoonful of rice in his mouth. If you don't feel confident, you could just give the position to someone else, I say, leaning on the palm of my hand as my elbow rested on the table. I locked eyes with him as I chewed on my rice. I suddenly felt a slight slap to the back of my head from Itachi. And don't be rude, and don't talk while you're chewing or you'll choke, he said in a scolding manner as I turned to lean against Kisame, who was beside me. Kisame, get your dog. I think I felt my brain shake this to me. I whine as I send a glare at Itachi, as he just gives me a small smile before turning back towards the other 3. Ugh, I hate school, I say, tuning out the other conversation. Same. I can't wait for this day to be over, Deidara says before shoving more food in his mouth. We have nothing after school today, correct? Sasori questions, staring at Deidara with a disgusted look. Oh, we should go get some ice cream after school, Tobai exclaims. It looked like he was vibrating in his seat. I don't know about all of you, but I'm going on my monthly shopping trip with Kakuzu, I say, finishing the last bit of my meal. Since when were you two close? Kasami questions with a raised eyebrow. Since I first called him Grandpa? You guys are just too dumb to notice that I've literally gone on these shopping trips every month for years. How much do you get from that bastard? Deidara questions. Like 10,000 bucks. No fucking way. He barely gives me shit. Language Deidara. Those were so big no words Deidara-senpai. Awa is blondie mad. I love how you guys never take my side on things. Deidara scowls, crossing his arms over his chest as he slumps further down his seat. Suddenly, a very loud alarm went off throughout the school as everyone jumped out of their seats. The alarm. Security level 3 has been broken. All students, please evacuate in an orderly fashion. What's security level 3? I hear Ada question as all the other kids run out of the cafeteria. It means someone's infiltrated the building. Hasn't happened in my 3 years here. A kid yells back. Anyways, hurry up and get out of here. Peeking my head into the hallway where the rest of the school was squished in. The other 5 behind me. Yeah, I will not be going out there, I say, going to walk down the opposite direction down the hall. You guys coming? As we were walking on the top floor, it was quiet. The only noise you could hear were the tapping on 6 pairs of shoes and the slight buzz of panicked students. Suddenly, I stopped, Deidara hitting my back. Hey, don't just stop in the middle of the damn hallway. I quickly cover his mouth as I squint to get a better look at the figure down the hallway, activating my Sharingan to get a better look. Full black outfit and a bit of blue hair sticking out from the hood. A small smirk appeared on my face. So it's that loser from 2 nights ago. I guess the plan will be starting soon then. Extra. Looking through one of the racks in the channel store, I grab a hanger with another skirt before turning around and showing it to Kakuzu and Hidden. Do you guys think this would look good? I question, staring at the 2 men as Hidden carried the few like 20 bags from all the stores that I've bought from as Kakuzu held that stuff I wanted from this store. I watched as both their eyes twitched at the same time, the smile on my face growing wider. I placed the skirt on top of the pile of stuff in Kakuzu's arms as I turned back around and towards the purses. I'll take your silence as a yes. So because I got 5K reads on this story Wattpad, why not make a special? Totally not to procrastinate the book, nope. Thank you SM for 5K and to any readers who've stuck around over my 2 years of discipline. I love you guys SM. In meeting the Akatsuki members. Characters included: Pain, Conan, Tobai, Kakuzu, Zetsu, Sasori, Kisame, Orochimaru, Itachi, Deidara, Hidden. In age 4. Pain age 24. When heading back to their base after taking me from that tree branch epilogue, if confused, I was being held in Mr. Purple Eye's arms as the 2 were moving relatively fast, but not too fast to scare me. The whole time I was staring at the man's purple eyes. They were like nothing I've ever seen before. Like I guess Sharingan is cool and all, but I saw that all the time. Finally noticing my stare, he glances at me before looking back ahead. Is there a problem, child? I tense slightly at being caught, a slight blush of embarrassment covering my cheeks. Your eyes are really pretty, I blurted out. I could feel his body tense slightly before going back to normal. I swear I saw a small smile on his face, but it was gone within seconds. Is that so? And why do you think that? Well, it's a pretty purple color, and it's in your eyes all the time. Unlike my Sharingan, where if it stays too long your eyes start to bleed. And I like purple much more than red, I rant slightly, throwing my arms around to show my exaggeration. Have you developed your Sharingan yet? He questioned, sparing another glance at me before continuing tree hopping. Well, I'm not sure. The other night before I left my village, My eyes were bleeding, and they hurt really bad. So maybe that was it. I say, my voice cracking a bit as I held tears in. I can't cry. They'll think I'm weak and not want me to come stay anymore. Well then, we can check it out tomorrow after you get a good night's rest. In age 4. Conan, age 24. Once you arrived at the base, Mr. Purple Eyes left the pretty lady to watch over me for the night. I didn't leave her side once. The other members I only got a glance of as we walked by. They were kinda scary. She got me set up to take a bath and clean all the dirt and grime that built up over the week I was in the wild. I got ready to sleep. As I sat in my new bed, pretty lady behind me was doing my hair as we talked about random stuff. What's your favorite color? Purple, like Mr. Payne's eyes. That's a lovely color, she says, finishing the braid. Time for bed. You have a big day tomorrow. Conan pulls the blankets further on top of me, making a little paper flower to match the one in her hair. She gently places it on the bedside table as I watch her do so. We can match tomorrow. She lets out a laugh with a small smile. Yes, we can, walking towards the door of the room. She switches off the lights before opening the door. Sleep well in. She gently closes the door and walks out of the room. In age 4. Tobai, age 20. Waking up around 11 p.m., I sat up in my bed before turning to sit at the edge of my bed, sliding down the side of my bed and landing my feet on the ground. I quietly walked towards the door, turning my door knob slowly and pulling the door open. Walking down the dark hallway and towards the kitchen to get a glass of water. Suddenly, I hit someone's back. As I was going to fall on my butt, the person caught me. Looking up, someone with a full face mask that was white with black lines. Sorry, mister, I whisper, trying to get out of his arms to get my water. The man let out a sigh before making sure I was standing upright. He kneeled down in front of me, a little tilt in his head as the one black circle for the eye pierced through me. I mimicked his head position as we had a staring contest, even though I couldn't see his eyes. What are you doing awake? Children need their rest to become stronger in the future, a deep voice says. I woke up and was really thirsty, so I was going to get some water. I whisper not really back to the man. Well then, he stands up slowly. Go get your water and then back to bed. You don't want pain to get you in trouble, do you? He says, walking away, looking over his shoulder as he does. Hey, what's your name? I question, using my little legs to jog up to him. You'll find out once we meet again in the future. And with that, he disappeared. I crossed my arms and pouted as I stared at the spot he once was. Rude. In age 4. Kakuzu, age 80. On my second day of staying with the Akatsukis, I was once again walking around and exploring. Stumbling across the kitchen, I see a man with a mask sitting on the dining table, counting a big pile of money. Walking over, I jump up using the table so I can see better. That's a lot of money, I comment as he glances at me before continuing to count. So you're the brat Payne was talking about? Definitely smaller than I thought. Hey, I'm not small, I yell, puffing my cheeks out while giving him a glare. You look pretty small to me. Well, you're just a giant. The two of us sat there for a minute in silence. He just sits there counting his money as I think of ways to talk to the man again. What's your name? I question, going to sit in the chair beside him. Kakuzu. My eyes blow open at the mention of his name. Wait, so like the guy who tried to kill the first Hokage? That's so cool. Doesn't that make you super old? You're like a grandpa. A tick mark appeared on the man's forehead at the mention of being a grandpa. I'm not a grandpa. Yeah, you're more like a fossil. Don't call me that, brat. Whatever you say, grandpa. In age 4. Zetsu, age very old. Walking around the base, lollipop in my mouth. I hummed a random tune as I stared at the blank walls going by, a little skip in my step. Suddenly, there was a tree-plant-looking thing coming out from the ground. I stop, looking at it with my mouth ajar. When it turned to look towards me, I let out a little shriek when I saw the black and white split face and a creepy grin. Okay, what the flip are you? Nice to meet you too. Well, what do you want me to say? You're like a giant tree that just came out of the ground, I exclaim, making a lot of hand gestures. I'm Black Zetsu, and a deeper voice says before switching to a higher pitch one. And I'm White Zetsu. And you are, little lady? He questions, taking a few steps towards me. Not gonna lie, this was super scary with how he was towering over me. Uchiha in, and when I'm older I'm going to be an amazing Akatsuki member, I yelled, a big smile on my face as I bent my neck to look up at him. How inspiring, White Zetsu says, a grin across the half and half man's face. How would you like to come to our garden? The deeper voice questioned, putting a hand out to grab. Will there be candy? Sure. Deal. Let's go, Mr. Tree Man, I say, going to go up and grab his hand. Suddenly, I felt my body being lifted off the ground by my shirt. Where do you think you're going, brat? Looking over my shoulder, I see Grandpa as he glanced in the direction of Mr. Tree Man before looking back at me. Well, Mr. Tree Man over here said if I came to his garden, I would get loads of candy. And I love eat candy. I watched as he let out a sigh and pitched the bridge of his nose. I don't get enough money for this. I could hear him mumble before looking back at me. Did your parents ever teach you about stranger danger? And a lot of sugar is disgusting. Yeah, because you're fat. Why, you brat, you know what? Go to his garden. I just hope you know he likes to eat people, specifically children. A shiver ran down my spine as I turned slowly to face the grinning tree, clinging on to the older man. You ruined all my fun, Kakuzu. Well, I would rather not get my ass beat for your mistakes. In age 4. Sasori, age 24. Sasori was working on one of his puppets in his room, within the Akatsuki hideout, tweaking and fixing parts that needed maintenance. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Letting out a sigh of annoyance, he placed his tools down. Come in. The door of his bedroom opened. A set of tiny footsteps walked into the room. Mr. Payne wanted me to give you this, you said, placing a scroll on top of his desk. He let out a little hum as he went back to work, thinking you would leave. You continued to stand there, watching as he finished off the head before reattaching it to the body. That's a pretty cool puppet, you say, staring at the red-haired man as he didn't pay you a glance. What do you need, child? Sasori questions, turning his body to face the small girl. You don't have to be a meanie, I say, pouting slightly. I want a cool puppet like that one day. You should teach me how to make one. I heard the man sigh once more as he turned his body to grab the puppet off his desk before turning back around to face me. He placed the body in my arms as I struggled a bit to keep it up. You can have it. Maybe one day I'll teach you how to create your own. Really? Thank you. In age 4. Kasama, age 21. Walking outside in a forest that surrounded the base, I held onto the side of Sasori's cloak much to his annoyance as we looked for the member I haven't met yet. I think his name was Lisame. No, Baisame. No, that's wrong too. Kasama, that's it. We came close to a body of water before water was shot at us. Letting out a little shriek as Sasori used his body to cover any of the impact towards me. What do you think you're doing, you idiot? Sasori calls out angrily as he pushes his wet hair out from in front of his face. I peek out from behind the Sasori to see a tall blue man coming out of the water. He looked like a shark. Sasori. He looks like a shark, I exclaim, pointing at the blue man. It's Sasori. He mumbles under his breath. It's rude to point in. Eek Soi. I turn to move towards Kasame. You look super duper cool, Mr. Shark. Thank you, little lady, he says, crouching down to be eye level with me. I made grabby hands trying to indicate I wanted to be picked up. Gently picking me up, he moved towards Sasori as he sent a slight glare in the man's direction. Pain-sama needs to talk to you about a new mission. Let's get going then. In age 5. Orochimaru, age 42. I sat at the kitchen table as Kakuzu was helping me learn better reading and writing skills. My brain hurt as I laid my head on the table. I heard 3 pairs of footsteps walking into the kitchen as Grandpa stopped talking. Lifting my head up, I see Pain, Sasori, and another man I've never seen before. He had really long black hair. His skin was super pale like white, and he kinda looked like a snake. This is Kakuzu. He's the treasurer of the Akatsukis. What about the girl? The weird man questions, licking his lips with his weirdly long tongue. I moved a little closer to the man sitting beside me, as I moved my eyes away from the man's uncomfortable gaze. That's in. You don't need to concern yourself with questions about her, Payne's cold voice says, glaring at the man. Wasn't planning on it, he says, a smirk on his face as they walk out of the room. Snake Man taking one more look back before fully leaving. That guy looks funny, I say, looking up at Kakuzu with big innocent eyes. Stay away from him. He's bad news kid, he says, ruffling my hair slightly. Now let's get back to work. He definitely thought of using you as a vessel. In age 7. Itachi age 14. We all were seated in the meeting room. A new member standing close to Pain with the same features as me. I feel like I recognized him from somewhere, but I couldn't remember where. I kept my eye locked on his figure as Pain was talking before his name caught my attention. Uchiha Itachi. My mouth dropped open as Itachi stared back at me. The two of us continued to stare at each other before Pain dismissed everyone. Stay here, I hear Pain say as I was about to leave the room with everyone else. Turning on my heel, Pain motions for me to come over here. As I go to stand beside him, he places his hands on my shoulder gently as we face Itachi. Conan standing on my other side. This Uchiha I see Itachi's eyes slightly widen. We've been having trouble helping her train her Sharingan, and considering both of you are from the same clan, you are the best option in aiding her with her training, Pain stats, staring at Itachi before switching his gaze down to me. You'll start training tomorrow before you do your first mission, Itachi. Dismissed. He removes his hands off my shoulders as him and Conan leave the meeting room. You've grown in. I never would have suspected that you joined the Akatsukis after you disappeared from the village. I didn't really join, they kinda just took me. Fate just brought us together, I say, trying to mask the fact I don't remember him. Well, it's a disappointment that you ran away. My father and mother were considering adopting you. It clicked in my brain that this was Sasuke's older brother. It's in the past now, I say, moving towards the exit of the room. I'm going to bed. Good night. I send him a quick smile before leaving the room. Good night in age 10. Deidara age 14. Itachi, Kasame, Sasori, and I were on our way to try and recruit some guy who blows stuff up. I was brought along to watch how missions were executed, as well as the potential of the Sharingan. Standing in a temple, correct me if I'm wrong, a blonde teen, not much older than me, stood up ahead. Akatsuki. Don't know and don't care. Now get lost. You're keeping me from my art appreciation time, he exclaims, glaring at us. Sounds like someone else we know, I mumble, hearing Kasama snort slightly. I have to take this brat on as my partner. They keep getting worse, Sasori says, in his really ugly puppet body. Sure, he's full of energy, but he seems like the early death type. I laugh at what he says, as the blonde man's eyes moving to stare at me with a questioning look before back to the others. It's our leader's orders. His talent will be very useful. What do you know about my talent? Who are you anyways? Geez, do you have a yelling problem, dude? I can feel my head pounding. My comment was ignored because they're losers. We know you're aiding the anti-government factions of neighboring nations with terrorist bombings. You're a rogue ninja, but what is your purpose? Kasami questioned, taking a slight step forwards. If all these missions are this boring, why would I want to do this? Purpose? Don't need one. I'm just taking commissions to cause explosions. Using my art, HM. Your art? Like this. He creates a spider out of clay that fits in his palm. Well, such clean, refined lines and a form that pursues two-dimensional deformé. He might just be crazier than Sasori, I mumble. Timeskip. This is chapter 359 in the manga and episode 123 of Shippuden if you want to read-watch the whole fight. Deidara lost the battle against Itachi, causing him to have to join the Akatsukis. It was a pretty boring fight. I almost fell asleep standing. I walk up to Deidara and hand him his new cloak. Here you go, Blondie. What the hell did you just call me? I'll blow you up, he replies, snatching the cloak and throwing it over his shoulders. Wah wah, stop whining and let's go. We're going to be late, and then Pain is going to be mad. I grab his wrist and yank him in the direction that the three older men were walking in. Don't drag me. I'll do whatever I want. In age 13. Hidden age 20. Walking down the halls of the base, I was looking for Kakuzu because I needed money for a bet I lost with Deidara. Seeing the familiar back of the old man up ahead, I quickly ran up and passed him before standing in front of them. Grandpa, I need money, pretty pleasey. I heard him sigh before pinching the bridge of his nose. I'm waiting for the day where he pushes me off a cliff. How much? Man, don't respond to Grandpa. It's not manly, the man beside him says. I turned to look at him up and down before landing on his hair color. A smirk made its way onto my face at the sight of white hair. You look more like Grandpa than he does, I say, pointing to Kakuzu. What the fuck did you just say, bitch? I'm 20 fucking years old, he sneers, pulling out his big red scythe and pointing it towards me. Already 20 and graying? That's pretty sad. Oh. I feel myself being lifted up and placed back in the direction I came from. Here's 100 and stop getting into trouble, brat, Kakuzu says, placing the money in my hands before pushing me slightly to get going. I walk away mumbling stuff under my breath. You better hope she doesn't tell Pain you pulled a scythe out on her. That bitch is that important? Call her a bitch again, and I'll pull your insides out. Go ahead, class president. We'd like to choose the other student council members. But before that. Greenie stutters, sweating bullets and shaking like a leaf. I believe that Ida is better suited to be class president. You all saw how well he led everyone in that crisis. I think he's the correct choice for the job. Ah, sounds good. Ida really showed his stuff back in the cafeteria. Not that I've got anything against Midoriya. He was like a beacon pointing to the emergency exit. Whatever. Just get on with it. What a waste of time. Aizawa grumbles. He looked like some weird-ass caterpillar in his sleeping bag. I will accept the job then. Ida stands up, his chair making a loud screeching noise as it was pushed back. You can do it, Mr. Exit Sign. Exit Sign Ida. Do your best. Aizawa-sensei stood in front of the class, looking like a grouchy guy. Now for today's basic hero training. This time, All Might, myself and one other will supervise. What are we doing exactly? Preparing you for disaster relief, from fires to floods. He pulls out a card and dramatically shows it to the class. The card reading rescue. What is the deal with these guys in cards? It's rescue training. Rescue, huh? Sounds like another rough day. Right. Come on. This is what being a hero's all about. I'm pumped. I'll be right at home in the flood. Ribbit. Boring, I comment, leaning back in my chair. Hey, I'm not done, Aizawa says, glaring at all of us. It's up to each of you whether or not you wear your costumes. As some of them are ill-suited to this sort of activity, he pushes a button on a remote, the self that stored our hero costumes coming out. The training site is a bit remote, so we'll be going by bus. That's all. Get ready. Everyone got up from their seats and grabbed their case before heading off to the change room. Our class stood outside the bus as Four Eyes started ordering stuff around. Man even had a whistle. Line up according to your ID numbers. Fill those seats in an orderly fashion. Ida's going full throttle. Darn. It was this type of bus. Ida sulked in his seat, the bus having 2 rows of seats up against the window, facing each other. Well, at the back they had double seats facing forwards. We sat closer to the back of the bus, observing our classmates. I sat beside Sasori, Itachi and Kisama sitting together. Tobai and Deidara sat together. You can guess how that's going. I generally say what's on my mind, Midoriya. The frog girl said. Oh, what is it, Usui? Call me Tsuyu. Your quirk resembles All Might's, she says bluntly, a cute smile on her face. Wah! Midoriya visibly starts to panic, sparing a glance at Sasori as he looks back at me. The two of us gaining interest in the conversation. Really? Nah, I. Hold up, Tsuyu. All Might doesn't get hurt, though. They're already different in that way, the spiky red-haired kid says, Midoriya calming down slightly as he lets out a sigh. But that's sort of simple. Strength-enhancing quirk is awesome. You can do a lot of cool stuff with it. Not like my hardening. I'm good in a fight, but it's really boring. I think that's pretty neat, though. Your quirk's more than enough if you want to go pro. Pro? But don't forget that heroes also have to worry about popular appeal. A pink-skinned girl exclaims, a big smile on her face. My naval laser is both strong and cool. Perfect for a pro. But it's way lame if it gives you a tummy ache, sweetie. You want to talk strong and cool? That'd be Todoroki, Bakugo, Uchihas, Tsukiwi, Akasuna, and Hoshigaki. Poor Tobai. But Bakugo's so unhinged. He'd never be popular. What'd you say, frog face? See. We've only barely started socializing, and already you've made it abundantly clear to us the unpleasantness of your steamed turd of a personality. A boy with yellow hair and a black lightning bolt in his hair says with a smirk. Yeah, okay, Mr. Vocabulary. How about I pound you? I started laughing a bit before Sasori elbowed me in the side. He sent a glare towards me. Party pooper. I mumble, crossing my arms over my chest and rolling my eyes. We're here. Look sharp. Whoa! Is this Universal Studios Japan? All of us stood at the front lobby of the giant area. I had my jaw ajar from the size of the area. It's like the same size as a village. There's the flood zone, landslide zone, conflagration zone, etc. Every disaster and accident you can imagine. Built this facility myself. I call it the Unforeseen Simulation Joint. It's the Space Hero 13. She's an amazing hero who does her best work in rescue scenarios. Ooh, I love 13. Aizawa walks over to the Space Hero as they start to whisper to each other. 13 showing a 3 with her fingers. Before we do, I have 1 or 2 points or 3, 4. Lots of points. As I'm sure many of you are aware, my quirk is called Black Hole. It can suck in and tear apart anything. And you've used it to save people in all sorts of disasters. Indeed. However, my power could easily kill. I've no doubt there are some among you with similar abilities. In our super-powered society, the use of quirks is heavily restricted and monitored. It may seem that this system is a stable one, but we must never forget that it only takes one wrong move with an uncontrollable quirk for people to die. During Aizawa's physical fitness test, you came to learn of your own hidden potential. Through All Might's battle training, you experienced the danger that your respective quirks can pose to others. This class will show you a new perspective. You will learn how to utilize your quirks to save lives. Your powers are not meant to inflict harm. I hope you leave here today with the understanding that you're meant to help people. That is all. I thank you for listening. She bows as some of the class starts clapping and fangirling. She's awesome. Bravo, bravo. Ignoring what they're saying, I sense some familiar chakra coming from down in the middle of the place. Looking past the teachers, I see a little black dot that started to expand. I try to hide the smirk that was going to come onto my face. Hey Aizawa-sensei, I call out to get the man's attention as he looks at me with an raised eyebrow. There's something down there, I say, pointing down by the fountain, my other hand on my hip. He turned around quickly as that weird hand man came out of the portal. More following behind, including two guys with Akatsuki cloaks and straw hats covering their faces. Huddle up and don't move, Aizawa yells, panic all over his face. 13. Protect the students. Huh? What the heck's that? More battle robots. Like during the entrance exam. Don't move, Aizawa yells, putting his goggles over his eyes. Those are real villains. 13. And Eraserhead, is it? The portal man starts talking. According to the staff schedule I received the other day, All Might is supposed to be here. Of course. That whole incident was this scum's doing. Aizawa says. Where is he? We've come all this way and brought so many playmates. All Might, the symbol of peace. Is he here? Handman says, his voice coming out really scratchy. The class faces turned horrified after the next few words spoken. I wonder if some dead kids will bring him here. Villains? No way. What villains be dumb enough to sneak into a school for heroes? Sensei, aren't there intruder sensors? Ponytail questions the space hero. Yes, of course there are. Are they only here, or also at the main building? Either way, if the sensors aren't working, it has to be one of their quirks that's doing it, the kid with Christmas hair says, staring down into the middle of the facility. This place is far from campus, and they picked a time when there'd be few people here. So maybe they're not as dumb as they seem. They must have an objective because this is a well-coordinated sneak attack. 13. Begin evacuation, and try calling the school. Aizawa yells. What is this fool still doing here? Isn't he supposed to be fighting or something? One of these villains must be jamming the sensors. There's a good chance one of their electric types is causing the interference. Kaminari, try using your quirk to signal for help. Got it. But Sensei, you can't fight them all alone, Greenie yells, taking a step forward towards the man. Against that many. Even you can't nullify all their quirks. As Eraserhead, your fighting style involves erasure and a quirk binding capture. Head-on battle isn't. No good. Her is a one-trick pony, he says, crouching up on top of the fence. Why is everyone in this world so dramatic? Aizawa leaps down and starts literally hovering over the stairs before going down and starting to pound the villains. Wow, he can hold his own, even when outnumbered. This is no time for analysis. Hurry up and evacuate. Suddenly, the big mist guy showed up blocking the exit of the school. I won't allow that. The class faces shifted into horrified faces as they stared at the mist neon yellow eyes. Greetings. We are the League of Villains. Forgive our audacity, but today we've come here to UA High School, this bastion of heroism. To end the life of All Might, the symbol of peace. I think their faces just got worse. We were under the impression that All Might would be here today, but it seems his schedule was revised. Well, no matter. 13 finger flicks opened, getting ready to send a black hole towards Portal Dude before Boom Boom and red-haired guy jumped towards him. They both try attacking the portal before Sasori's strings grab a hold of them back. Not if we end you first. Betcha didn't see that coming. That was close. Yes, students though you may be, you are the best of the best. No, get back, both of you. 13 screams before black mist went around all of us. Be gone. Writhe in torment. Until you breathe your last. Falling out of the patrol, I quickly twist my body to land on my feet, landing in a crouching position. Standing up, I looked around the area and noticed double-colored hair dude and the invisible girl in the landslide area with me. Suddenly, there was a presence behind me. I quickly moved my head out of the way as the person went to punch me. The attacker stumbles forward before I grab the back of their shirt and head, quickly kneeing them in the face and causing it to go unconscious. A little chill went by as Todoroki froze the ground where the other villains stood. You all lost to a kid. How pathetic, he says, putting his hands in his pockets like this is a daily thing. Come on, now. You're adults, aren't you? That was cold, I comment, walking up towards him. He stared at me with a straight face. Come on. That was at least a little funny. Ignoring me, he walks by and towards the villains. Divide and conquer, huh? Forgive me for saying so. But it's hard to see you guys as any more than thugs with quirks you can't even handle. Bastard. The second he was warped here. Is he really just a kid? Oh. Todoroki stood there in thought for a minute. Well, I picked at my nails. Hey? At this rate, your skin'll rot away from frostbite. But I'm trying to become a hero and heroes don't do such horrible things. Yeah, they do, loser. What makes you think you can kill All Might? Tell me your plan. I don't know anything, I swear. A villain yells, tears about to stream down his face. You're pretty pathetic, I say, walking up to stand in front of the frozen man. Activating my Sharingan and putting the man in a Genjutsu. He experienced himself getting eaten alive for days before pulling him out of it again. His eyes darted around as he shook, staring at my blood-red eyes. Why, you're crazy. Tears streamed down his face even faster. I grabbed his chin and held it harshly. What's your plan to do to All Might? I swear I don't know. Please? I gave the traumatized man a glare as I felt a hand being placed on my shoulder. They don't know anything. We can just knock them out and leave them to the pros to find once they arrive, Canadian boy says, moving towards some other villains to knock them out. I did the same. Uchiha, watch out. I quickly dodge as a familiar red scythe goes to pierce my side. Jumping back and towards Todoroki, we stare at the man with the Akatsuki cloak on. Get out of here, I'll handle this guy. He goes in for another strike. I block it, making sure half and half doesn't get injured. No, you can't handle this on your own, Todoroki says sternly, trying to freeze the man as he jumps up, and then destroys it with a hit. You need to find the others, specifically closer to the middle. If they're after All Might, there's no telling what they'll do to get his attention. I engage in hand-to-hand combat as Todoroki stands there for a second before nodding and running away. Hagakure, go to the front of the building. See if you can find a way to open the doors, I say before she could follow Todoroki. Right. I continued to fight the man, tapping my foot on the ground twice to get Zetsu's attention and to check the area for anyone. Clear, Zetsu says, coming out from the ground, and I stop fighting. Hi, hidden, I say with a smirk. Hi, brat. He takes off his hat and mask as he walks closer to me. You should have let me get some of that kid's blood. I could have sacrificed him to Jashin. I never thought I'd see the day where a 22-year-old man was pouting. You're fucking weird. I push him as he sends me a glare. Besides, he's pretty powerful. If only he used both his powers. Whatcha mean? He scratches his head with a dumbfounded expression. You saw how the ice he produces only comes out from the right side. That's because the other side controls fire. I read his file last night, but he doesn't seem to use it, or refuses to use it. That's some stalker-ass behavior. Shut up, you fat-ass man-whore, I say, a tick mark appearing on my forehead as I move closer towards him. The two of us were almost chest to chest. This is not the time for your bickering, you two, Black Zetsu says, a wild smirk on their face. I think the real fight is happening soon, meaning we're all needed there. White Zetsu continues before they start to morph back into the ground. Better get moving. Once Zetsu was gone, I turned to face Hidden, shoving my arm towards him and turning my head away. Give me a big cut to make this scene believable. Then you can chase me back into the middle or something. I squeeze my eyes shut as Hidden goes painfully slow, making a deep cut. Just do it fast. Fine. He quickly swipes the rest of the way up my arm, stopping right before my shoulder. Let's get going before that old bastard kills me. Hey, I only get to call him old, you freak. Whatever, just start moving, brat. running towards the center with that psycho, Hidden chasing behind me. Making it back to the center, I see Boom Boom holding down Portal Dude by his neck brace. Canadian Dude freezing that big ugly bird thing. Red-haired guy and Greenie were also standing there. All Might was on the ground clutching his side. Scum like you could never kill the symbol of peace. Todoroki says, "You've pinned down our way out. Well, this is a problem." Before I could take another step, I felt the wind get knocked out of me as I flew across the place, bracing myself for a rough landing before I felt a pair of arms grating. "Hidden's going pretty tough on you, huh?" Kasami whispers, as he places me down properly. He glances at my bleeding arm before looking back at me. "Tell me about it." I roll my eyes, dusting my clothes off. Staring up ahead, I see Hidden doing some weird moves with his scythe, because he's a weirdo as he walks towards the group. "You slipped up, you bastards. And it's just like I thought. The parts you can turn into that foggy warp gate are limited. And you've using that misty crap to hide your real body. Yeah, am I right?" Boomy Boy says with a cocky smirk. "If your whole body was mist and physical attacks didn't work, you'd never say." That was a close one. Misty tries to get out of Boom Boom grip, causing him to let out small warning explosions. "Don't move. If I decide you're doing anything fishy, I'll blow you straight to Kingdom Come." That's not very manly, dude. Not only have you beaten our level, but you're all at full health. Today's kids really are something. Our League of Villains should be ashamed. Why is talking like it's a video game? I think that's what it's called. Namu. Take out the explosive brat. We need our escape route back. And you too, he refers to Hidden and Kakuzu. Help take down the other students, would ya? That Namu thing slowly stands back up, half of its body crumbling away. His body's falling apart, but he's still moving. "Get back, everyone," All Might yells, throwing his arm in front of the group as Kasame, and I make it back. "What the?" I thought his quirk was shock absorption. The bird thing slowly regenerates its body back with a loud screech. I don't remember saying that's all he can do. This is hyperduration. Namu is a super-powered living sandbag designed to withstand everything you've got. Namu thing quickly ran at All Might at an average ninja pace, going to punch the blonde hero before changing its punch direction towards Boom Boom. "Kaken," Greenie yells as a big wind goes by. "Kaken." Looking beside us, a startled Blondie and Itachi stood looking in the direction the punch went in. "You dodged that? Wow." "I didn't." "Shut up, you," he says angrily, All Might being seen to take the punch even though Itachi pulled him away. This guy doesn't know how to hold back. Anything to save a comrade, right? Just like earlier when, that one. Krusty points at Greenie, the plain one. He came at me with everything he had. But violence in the name of saving others is admirable, isn't it, hero? Hidden Scythe comes at me again with Kakuzu backing him up. Using my Sharingan, I was able to avoid the attacks before Todoroki tried to freeze them again, which in fact did not work. You know what, All Might? That pisses me off. Heroes and villains both thrive on violence. But we're still categorized. You're good. You're evil. That's how it is. You can't use the same tricks twice, pretty boy. I can hear Hidden cocky voice. I know there's a giant smirk under his mask. Especially when it didn't work the first time. He lunges forward to cut at Todoroki's neck. Eyes widened at the man's speed. Before he could make the cut, Todoroki was pulled away by a set of strings, explosions being set off towards Kakuzu. "Why am I always saving these brats?" Sasori grumbles, moving closer to the group with Deidara trailing him. "Symbol of peace. Ha! In the end, you're just a tool for violence, made to keep us down. And violence only breeds more violence. I'll show the world that by killing you." Krusty yells as Hidden and Kakuzu jump back and land beside him. "What a load of hooey," All Might comments, an unimpressed look on his face. Idealistic criminals have a different sort of fire in their eyes. But you're just enjoying yourself, you big liar. You got me. Saw right through. It's 10 on 5. But Kakin showed us the Mist Man's weak point. These are some brutal dudes, but with us supporting All Might, we can beat him back. No, get out of here, All Might yells at us again, throwing his arm out as he glares at the villains. Things wouldn't have gone so well if I hadn't just stepped in, Popsicle says, looking at the Nomu who stood behind Krusty. Cocky much? I comment, raising my eyebrow. You didn't do all the work, Scarface. I got chased by that crazy motherfucker. I jabbed my thumb in Hidden's direction. I could see his whole body twitch as I tried to hold in a laugh. All Might, you're bleeding. And I think your time's you. Greenie quickly places a hand over his mouth. A panicked look on his face as I narrow my eyes at his figure. Your time? The fuck does that mean? Right, you are Todoroki, so thanks for that. But fear not. Sit back and watch a pro get serious. Namu, Kirigiri, take him. Krusty turns towards Hidden and Kakuzu. You two with me. We'll handle the kids. I watch as All Might clutches his fist, steam coming out of his mouth before turning my attention back to the crazy hand guy who just launched forwards into my direction. Hidden and Kakuzu followed suit, which did not help my situation at all. Why do they keep coming after me? Let's clear the game and go home. I jump up, dodging the attacks while using Hidden's face as a launch pad to push myself backwards. I felt a hand slightly touch my leg before a striking pain shot through it. Letting out a hiss, I land a few meters back and look at my now missing skin on my leg. Well, isn't today just sunshine and rainbows? I sigh, sitting down on the ground because everyone else can handle this fight. I really wished I learned medical ninjutsu right now. They're coming. Get ready, guys. Wow, haters. Don't even care that I'm crippled right now. All Might goes in and punches Ugly Bird Thing, the two holding their fists together as a giant gust of wind blows. He's got shock absorption. You already saw it yourself, Krusty says, slightly laughing. That's right. All Might starts to punch that ugly thing like crazy. Even the Namu was shocked. A head-on assault. It's absorption, not negation. So he must have a limmy. No? The wind starts to pick up even more. I'm gonna jump this guy for ruining my hair. Built to counter me, you say? Made to withstand everything I've got. Then I'll just go beyond that. All Might starts to spit out blood as he keeps punching, his speed increasing by the second. It's impressive, I guess, but I'm definitely still better trust. A hero's always ready to smash through trouble. Everyone's jaws were dropped at the scene happening. I could sense Zetsu standing close by as I turned to make eye contact with from where he stood in the trees. What a stalker. Tell me, villain, do you know the meaning of? All Might sends one finally punch, sending Namu up and through the ceiling. Plus Ultra. We watch as it becomes a little dot in the sky, jaws dropped. Like straight out of the comics. He just smashed his way past the absorption. The ultimate bruiser. And against that power, the regeneration wasn't able to keep up with that rush of attacks. So this is what we gotta deal with. Not bad. All Might steps forward and out of the smoke created from his punch. Well, villain, how about we hurry up and finish this? You cheated. You've weakened. Not that I can see. We're completely outmatched. How dare you do that to my Namu? This kid starts scratching his neck like crazy. He's not weak at all. They lied to me. Hey buddy, let's pack up the lemonade stand here. You lost, man. I limp forwards and into their direction, Kirsty's eyes widening in recognition. Well, come to get me. What happened to clearing the game? All Might yells, his body starting to steam. If you can take me, then bring it on. He sends a glare in their direction, one blue eye shining through. Right, we're not ready for this level yet. We all start to back up away from the scene to head towards the exit. Itachi picked me up Sakura style, if Ikik. Midoriya, we ought to just hang back for now. Rush in, and they might take you hostage or something. Tomato says as Greenie stands still in his spot, his eyes locked on All Might who's still facing these losers. Well, what's keeping you? If only we still had Namu. If only. Krusty starts scratching his neck even harder. I could see flakes flying off. You two are so useless. He turns to face Kakuzu and Hidden, who stood there. We're only following our master's orders. We've already gone against them by fighting these brats on your command, so be grateful we even did that. Tamura Shigaraki, calm yourself. It's apparent that Namu did manage to deal some real damage. The kids are holding back for some reason, and reinforcements from the school are bound to arrive in a few minutes. But if the two of us double team him, we still have a chance, Misty says, staring at the group of us. Yes. Right. We can do this. The final boss is standing right there. All Might'll take care of the big bads. Let's go see if we can help the others. Everyone starts to hurriedly walk away. Greenie just stood there. I stared at him over Itachi's shoulder before tapping the older male and pointing at him. This is revenge for Nomu. Krusty and Misty charge forwards before Hidden charged forward, cutting the #1 hero's cheek. A bit of blood getting onto his scythe. He jumped back before pulling down his mask, eyes still covered by his hat as he uses his foot to draw the Joshin circle thing. His skin changed to his black and white skeleton look once he licked the blood off it. Let's have some fun with this symbol of peace. He stabs himself in the leg. All Might lets out a hiss as he looks down at his leg and sees blood running down it. Then a big portal opened with Krusty moving his hand forward towards All Might. But then Greenie ran forwards and went to punch the mist guy. Midoriya. Get away from All Might. Krusty changed direction and outstretched his hand towards Midoriya before a shot went off. A bullet going through Krusty's hand. Another shot went off, hitting Hidden in the stomach before giant cement blocks pushed him out of the circle, his skin fading back to normal. Sorry everyone, a man who looked like a cowboy said. The UA facility standing in the entrance. We're a little late. We brought everyone we could, a little bear-looking thing said from on top of one of the staff's shoulders. President of Class 1A, Tenya Ada, reporting for duty. Ah, they're here. Game over. Guess we gotta try again another time. Kirigiri ga. A bunch of shots were shot towards the villain group before 13's black hole started to suck them in. I may have failed here, symbol of peace. But the next time we meet, you're dead, All Might. The group was wrapped away, a cloud of dust being left behind. Our teachers. All those pros gathered here. Looks like there was no attack on the school itself. Midoriya, you okay? Kirishima. Tomato starts to run towards Broccoli Kid before a wall of cement builds up in front of him, stopping him from continuing forward. We need to make sure all you students are safe, so head over to the gate. A guy that looked like a block said. I'll deal with the wounded. Makes sense. Roger that. Hey Itachi, wanna hurry up before I pass out from blood loss? It would be appreciated. I groaned at the pain from missing layers of skin on my leg. The cut of my arm wasn't really a bother, but I swear you could probably see the bone on my leg. Shit, that looks like it hurts. You totally deserved it though. Dodara walks up beside us looking down at my leg. Okay, someone is feeling cheery today. Just for you. Both of you shut up. We need to find Tobai and get in some help, because Konan and Kakuzu aren't here to deal with the injuries, Sasori says as they start to run off towards the entrance. The other 4 classmates trailing behind. Itachi Puff. The 5 of us sat against a wall of the hospital with the rest of our class, all of us being checked over just to make sure no damage was actually done. Parents started coming in left and right to find their children. I watched the door as it opened and closed, waiting for Pain to walk through them. Glancing at the others, I could tell they were a bit nervous about how Pain would react to what happened to Inwell. The rest of us remained unharmed. Sighing to myself, I turned to engage in conversation with Ida. Itachi, have your caregivers arrived yet? The robotic boy questions, looking around the area. Not yet. They should be arriving soon considering the condition N is currently in. How is she doing? It must have been painful. I believe she'll pull through. I'm worried about the reactions that our guardians will have, and how they'll act towards us. Hey guys, Uraraka walks up to us. How are you guys feeling? Well, I'm a little shaken by the events, but the rest of you had it much worse than I did. I'm mainly worried about our classmates. They fought bravely well, I just had to get more pros. Ida looks down at his clutch fist with a look of shame. You helped a lot with saving the class. Yeah, Ida. Without you we totally would have been toast, Uraraka exclaims, making exaggerated gestures. Ida looks back up, his eyes wide and a smile tugging on his lips. As class president, I'll continue to strive to be the best hero I can. A small smile appears on my lips before I hear the lobby door open. 3 familiar chakra presents walking in. The room grows tense as they lay eyes on the intimating man with purple eyes. His presence reeked of power as he stride towards our group, the other 4 standing up and coming towards my side. I see you 5 are unharmed, that's good news, Pain says in his usually stern voice, a few nodding their heads. I could feel most people staring at us, mostly Pain. Orochimaru, take the 5 of them out while Conan and I go and grab in. Fine by me, Orochimaru responds, licking his lips. The other 2 walk away into the medical center, a nurse leading the way. Let's go. Nagato is very happy right now, so better get moving, children. A big ugly smirk on his face as he sends a glare at the people staring. Don't tell us what to do, old man, Sasori says coldly, as we all walk towards the exit of the hospital. I say a quick goodbye to Ida and Uraraka before following. I sat in the hospital room by myself, staring up at the ceiling. It seems they separated me from the rest of the injured people. The old lady left not too long ago saying I was good to go home. She just needed to have a talk about caring for my leg with whoever was picking me up. I turn my head to look at the door as it opens, Conan and Pain walking into the room along with a nurse. I'll go tell Mrs. Hizenji who needs to talk to you a bit about the injury before she can be discharged, the nurse says, a small smile on her face as Pain walks towards me and stands by my side. Thank you, Conan says before the nurse leaves. She lets out a sigh before coming to walk over onto my other side. I stare down at my hands in my lap, finding the color of the sheet way more interesting than it was a minute ago. How did you get injured? Pain questions. I could feel the stern look I was getting to the side of my face as I kept my head down. Scythe, I pointed to the wrapping around my arm. Hand guy, I pointed to the injury on my leg. He lets out a hum before the room goes silent once more. After an eternity, the room door opens with the old lady walking in. Are you feeling better, dearie? The woman questions as I nod my head slightly. That's good to hear, she gives a little smile, going to talk to the 2 adults in the room. I tuned out the room as they talked about physiotherapy for my leg. Not that I'd be doing it though. I'll just have Conan or the old man fix it. Conan has medical ninjutsu in this FF. Let's go in, Conan says, helping me get up as Pain already starts walking out of the room. Walking out into the halls and towards the lobby. I could feel the stares of my classmates as I walked out of the hospital. So what were you able to learn from this invasion? Pain says, standing in our meeting room. These class 1 kids are really dumb, Hidden comments, swinging his feet up on top of the table with his hands behind his head. I think All Might has some sort of time thing, I say, narrowing my eyes as I stare at the table. This green-haired kid said, All Might, you're bleeding. And I think your times and cut himself off before he could. As well as before the Yushi attack 13 and Eraserhead were whispering to each other about All Might, and I was able to catch on to them talking about using up all his time. Oh, and this one time I was leaving the building, and I saw Greenie talking to Boom Boom Boy about his power being borrowed from someone else. Who talks about stuff like that in public? Very good in. Pain turns to face the tree weirdo in the room. Zetsu. Were you able to gather anything related to this? Well, after that cement hero created a wall, I was able to move towards All Might and saw that he deflates into a skinny version of himself. It seems as if after a certain amount of time, his power deems to be useless. I've done some research myself, and I've seen that no one has any clue what his quirk is. Along with any time questioned about it, he simply avoids the question. Orochimaru butts in, standing up and moving towards Pain. Thanks for the info, old man. Why don't you give us something that we can actually use? Deidara complains, rolling his eyes before resting his cheek against the palm of his hand. I'm getting there, Orochimaru sneers. I was able to dig up some information about the woman All Might was mentored by. She was murdered by the man we briefly met over the TV during our meeting with the League of Villains, All for One. What's interesting about this is that there seems to be a pattern involved within this group. All Might's mentor, Nana Shimura, was as well killed by All for One's hand. This goes back about 5 more times after her mentor's death. The same pattern follows until we reach a man named Yoichi Shigaraki. He was born in the year 2014 and was deemed quirkless. Yoichi also had a twin brother with a quirk that could steal others and then give them to others if he wished. I was able to obtain his first name. It doesn't really seem like this is getting us anywhere, Orochimaru. Sasori scowls, sending a sharp glare at the Snake Man. Well, it seems that this Yoichi Shigaraki has some long-distance relation to Taumura Shigaraki. Itachi comments, going back into deep thought. Well, I was also able to find documents about Yoichi's brother, and it doesn't say he was ever deceased. I also discovered that Shigaraki gave a quirk to Yoichi, causing him to discover his original quirk. He later passed away, but not before finding a student and starting this cycle. So basically, All for One is this Yoichi Shigaraki's twin brother, is what I'm getting at. I sit up a bit, propping both arms onto the table. Precisely what I was thinking. You're not helping the old man allegations, Orochimaru. So we gotta figure out what the hell this guy's quirk is and his relationship to Green Kid in our class. I feel like a detective, Kasama states, a big grin on his face as he cracks his knuckles. I want you 6 to pay closer attention to All Might and this child you speak of. The rest aren't nearly as valuable. I expect a report of some sort in about 2 weeks. Dismissed. The one called Shigaraki. His quirk allows him to disintegrate anything he touches. We've been through the list of men in their 20s and 30s in the quirk registry with no luck. Nothing turned up on the Rapgate user, Kirigiri, either. Neither is registered and both are using aliases. Their quirks aren't on record, making them members of the underworld. We weren't able to gain any information on the 2 cloaked figures, but the fact they've been going around killing pros and that they called themselves the Akatsukis, Detective Tsukachi says, standing in front of the UA staff. So you're saying we know next to nothing? I reckon we ought to learn fast, or the leader of those varmints, Shigaraki. His wounds'll heal, and he'll be back again. Snipe speaks up. Leader, huh? What is it, All Might? It's just that nothing about this feels normal. It was an especially daring attack, and not just in the meticulous planning. He started going on about some ridiculous ideology, and although he didn't say anything about his own quirk, he was shooting his mouth off, bragging about that guy Namu's quirk, and when things didn't go his way, he started throwing a tantrum. Well, I guess the business about the quirks was meant to provoke me, All Might say, rubbing under his chin where he got punched. Even so, it seems especially foolish in a battle against heroes to reveal one's quirks and waste the element of surprise. Spouting a plausible yet diluted ideology. Bragging about the toy he brought along and simple-mindedly thinking everything would go his way. If we think about how the attack was carried out, it seems clear that this Shigaraki character couldn't quite hide his childish nature. That sense that he does whatever he wants. He's a man-child. A kid with too much power, you're saying. Maybe he never received general quirk counseling in elementary school. So? What does that matter anyways? We apprehended a total of 72 villains at USG the other day. They were all just back alley thugs, but the question is why so many of them would agree to follow this man-child. Nowadays, our society is saturated with heroes. So maybe small-time villains like them, who always get kicked around, are drawn in by sort of pure, unaffected evil. Anyways, thanks to you heroes, we can focus on our investigation. We'll expand our search and devote our efforts to apprehending the perpetrators. Drake? A man-child, huh? In one way, he's a lot like our students. He has potential to grow. If only he had a proper mentor to follow. It's difficult to think about these things, Nezu says, looking through some papers. You're all dismissed now. Have a lovely day off. Everyone got off and left the meeting rooms, either going back home or out of patrol. I walk in front of the cells that were built in the basement of the hideout, looking through the bars at the unlucky pro-hero inside. You know, ectoplasm. UA. Security is pretty shit. I mean, me and my friend got inside pretty easily, I exclaim, transforming back into myself from pretending to be the pro as Zetsu appears beside me. You might want to tell them to up their security system. Well, if you can remember. Orochimaru walks into the room, a needle in his hand as he walks towards the cell. You villains. There will be consequence for your crimes. Oh, I don't know about that. But don't worry, the needle only hurts for a second. You guys, did you watch the news last night? Yeah. It was so cool that we got a few seconds of screen time. But I bet no one noticed me hanging out in the background. Probably not. It's difficult to stand out when you're just gloves. We're totally big deals. News channels love us. We're basically celebrities. Yeah, it's kinda crazy, right? Get over yourselves. The hero course that pumps out pros was attacked is what they care about. Who knows what would happen to us if the teachers didn't show up? Why'd you say that? I'm going to be pee myself just thinking about it. I'm about to punch you in the face. Ah, shut up. Grow a pair, loser. Did you guys see All Might fighting the bird guy? That dude was super strong, and he still destroyed him. Yes, his strength is truly a thing of wonder. Attention! Homeroom class is about to begin. Ida marches about to the front of the class. Everybody stop talking and take your seats. We're sitting 4 eyes, I comment, throwing my feet up onto my desk. Yeah, you're the only one standing. Ida quickly moves to sit down, shaking in his seat. Damn it. Don't sweat it. The classroom doors slid open. Aizawa standing there with bandages covering him head to toe. Morning class. Mr. Aizawa, what are you doing here? Whoa. What a pro. Mr. Aizawa, I'm glad you're okay. You call that, okay? My well-being is irrelevant. What more important is that your fight isn't over yet. Our fight? Don't tell me. Not more villains. A sports festival is about to start. Don't scare us like that. It's necessary to demonstrate that the UA's crisis management protocols are sound. That's the thinking, apparently, Hobo says with an annoyed tone. Compared to past years, there'll be 5 times the police presence. Anyhow, our sports festival is the greatest opportunity you'll get. It's not an event that can be cancelled over a few villains. You sure about that? It's just a stupid sports festival. Minta. Are you telling me you've never seen UA sports festival? Of course I have. That's not what I mean. Our sports festival is one of Japan's biggest events. Wow, even Hobo is being loud for this. Kinda like the Chunin exams. Too bad I never did them. Wait. Doesn't that make me like an S-ranked academy kid? The Olympics were once the world's sports festival. The whole country would be whipped into a frenzy over them. But as you know, that tradition has shrunk in scale to a shell of its former self. And as far as Japan's concerned, what's taken the place of the Olympics is the UA Sports Festival. Dramatic much. I mumble under my breath, leaning back in my chair. I could feel eyes boring into the side of my head as I looked over at Candy Cane Boy, who's giving me a weird look. Got a staring problem. I whisper, raising my eyebrow as we lock eyes. He turns away, but not before sending me a glare, going to pay attention back at the front. The nation's top heroes will all be watching, right? They'll be there as scouts. They'll be looking to hire us as sidekicks after we graduate. That's how it's done. Like they would look at you when there's us 6 in the event. And a lot of those sidekicks never manage to go solo. They're sidekicks forever. That'll be you, Kaminari, you dunce, Earphone says as I let out a laugh. Not you two in. I'm doomed if a beauty like yourself is laughing at me. Oh, Lighting bends forward, holding the back of his head. Tobai retreated back into the ground after smacking him in the head as I laughed even more. Shut up, would you? Your voice is insufferable, Sasori comments. That was for NN-senpai. All of you pay attention. Aizawa's hair shoots up, sending the class a glare before deactivating his quirk. Naturally, you'll gain valuable experience and popularity if you're picked up by a big-name hero. But your time is limited. Show the pros what you're made of here, and you'll make futures for yourself. This happens once a year, so you've got 3 chances. If you're hoping to become a hero, this is an event you can't miss. The 5 of us walked further behind the group in front of us, Itachi chatting along with said group. They were yapping about why they decided to train to be a hero. I halt in my tracks once All Might randomly appears in front of the other group. Oh, Midoriya, kid, found you. What the hell is happening? Wanna eat lunch with me? Sure. I stare at the two as I remember Payne's words. Find as much information on this child you speak of and his relationship with the #1 hero. I make eye contact with Itachi, signaling him to distract our other 2 classmates as the rest of us skillfully follow the duo towards the staff break room. Once the 2 entered the room, I turned down the hall beside it to see a vent at the top of the wall. Deidara, I'm gonna need your help here, I say as he turns to walk to where I am, a big cocky smirk on his face. You guys make sure nobody can come down this hall. Wow, I never knew the day would come where you needed my help. But I guess everyone needs help from someone like me every once in a while. Oh, what was that for? For being a fucking loser. Now will you hurry up and make a clay spider? We're wasting time and info here, I yell at him as I pull a burner phone out of my bag. Making sure it was on airplane mode and no SIM card as Deidara creates a spider. I quickly connected the AirPods I got to the phone, giving one to Blondie so we could also listen while recording the conversation. I attached the phone onto the spider before letting the spider go up and into the vent. So how exactly are we going to find the right room? Well, dipshit, one of the break room walls is right in front of us. So if this vent is here, there's a high chance if you just make the clay go straight, it will lead you to the room. Oh. We waited about a minute before we could hear a conversation inside the room. Stop it from moving like right here. Just 50 minutes. Yes, my time limit's getting shorter by the day. I can barely maintain my muscle form for an hour. It's that bad. Sorry. PFFTT, don't apologize. We're so alike, you and I. I really want to talk about the sports festival. You still can't regulate one for all, right? So what do we do? Ah, but there was one time when I attacked that brain villain. There was no kickback. Ah, you did mention that. So what was different? I used it against someone else for the first time. Sounds like you managed to pump the brakes without even knowing it. In any case, that's progress. Glad to hear it. Because in all honesty, the time I've got left as symbol of peace is quickly running out. Right. And among those with villainous intent, there are some who've started to realize that. I granted you my power so that you could succeed me. This sports festival. It's an event the whole country will be watching. And that means just one thing for us, you. The next All Might. The fledgling symbol. I need you to tell the world. I am here. After waiting a bit longer, they didn't spill any new information that would be needed. Quickly retracting the spider, and grabbing the burner phone before placing it in a pocket inside my blazer. Well, that was boring, I say as we walk out of the hallway. At least we got some new info, so the boss won't be on our asses. Walking to leave class and go home. A big group of students stood at the door. What's going on? No way out. What are they here for? Scoping out the competition. Duh, small fry. Boom Boom shoves me as he goes to walk through the door. 'Cause we're the kids who survived a villain attack. Makes sense they'd want a look before the sports festival. And that's him on a good day. No point, though. Move aside, extras. Can we please not resort to calling those we don't even know extras? It's true. We came to get a look, but you sure are modest. A boy with messy purple hair pushes through the crowd to get to the font. Are all the kids in the hero course like this guy? Gotta say, I'm a little disillusioned if this is what you're offering. Don't worry, it's just this guy that has a bigger ego than his height, I comment, going to lean on the wall outside our classroom. Everyone in the group just gave me a weird look as I gave them a glare back. What the fuck did you just say, red-eyed bitch? Those of us who didn't make the hero course are stuck in general studies and the other tracks. There's quite a few of us. Did you know that? No, I didn't, hobo tuboishi, and I couldn't care less either. I roll my eyes as this kid keeps yapping. I just want to take a nap, man. Depending on the results of this sports festival, they might consider transferring us to the hero course. I understand the reverse is also possible for you, scoping out the competition. For a general studies kid like me, this'll be the perfect chance to knock you off your pedestals. Consider this a declaration of war. Hey, I'm from Class 1B, next door. Heard you guys fought some villains. Wanted to find out more. But all I'm seeing are these arrogant bastards. Yap, yap, yap. Why are you talking to us and not training then? Since you know, you already failed to get into the hero course once you could really use the gym. As well as that sleeping habit of yours, hobo tuo. I push myself out off the wall as the rest of the Akatsukis move to leave. Kisame at the front since he's one tall-ass guy. Move, brats. Kisame starts pushing people out of the way to make a path. Wait, you jerk? What are you doing to us? Thanks to you guys, we've got a whole mob of haters now. I don't give a crap, Boom Boom bitch says as he trails behind our group, making his way through the path and bumping shoulders with a few people. I'm heading for the top. Why should I care? Just for that, I'm definitely gonna beat his ass in the festival, I mumble as we walk out of the group and down the hall. Waking up from the rough shaking of Daedra, I swat my hand at his face, which caused him to stumble back and almost fall over. What the fuck, man? He holds his nose, sending me a glare as I roll over and face the other direction. I'm not going today, I don't care. Bruh, it's that stupid sports festival thing. You gotta go. He grabs my ankle and yanks me off my bed. I land on the floor with a loud thud. I let out a groan before rolling over onto my back. I think you just broke one of my ribs. I'm gonna tell Pain. What the fuck just happened? Hidden kicks open the door, it hitting the wall with an even louder thud. Firstly, don't put a hole in my wall. Secondly, I think Daedara just broke my rib, so I think I should totally stay home today. You can't miss out on the sports festival. It's an important event for our mission. Itachi walks into the room, crossing his arms over his chest. Okay, why is everyone just appearing out of nowhere? I agree with Itachi. It would be foolish to skip out on this event. Sasori also walks in, Tobai skipping behind him. Nen senpai, are you okay? Okay, this is actually freaky. Aren't you supposed to be getting ready for this event? My amazing angel, Konan stands in the doorway with her arms crossed and a glare on her face. Well, be late if you don't all get out of In's bedroom and let her get ready. I can't tell if I should be offended or happy by that comment. Everyone started to leave my bedroom, going in their own directions to get ready for the day. Thanks, Konan. I'll be done in like 10 minutes, pinky promise, I exclaim, closing the door as I go and get changed into my gym uniform. Walking through the crowded gates of UA, we made our way towards the path that took you towards the giant stadium. The path was lined with many foods, games, and other random stuff as people crowded the areas. The joyful yells of children could be heard as they ran around with their new hero merchandise that cost more than their parents' rent. The walk was a bit before we could walk inside the big stadium, heading towards the Class 1A waiting room. Before splitting off, Payne stops our little group. "If you need anything, we'll be in the VIP sections. Aim for the top," he says before walking off, Konan, Kekuzu, Orochimaru, and Hidden following behind him. "Let's go," Sasori says as he starts to walk down another hallway towards the waiting rooms. Once we reached the room, Sasori opened the door to our class chatting. We all walked into the room when Ida started to march up towards us. "You guys are late. We were supposed to meet in this room 15 minutes ago," he exclaims, waving his arms around like a crazy person. "Calm down, Four Eyes, we're here now," Deidara says, walking over to one of the empty tables to sit down. I follow after him and sit down in the chair beside him. "Deidara, let's make a bet." "Oh yeah, like what?" "If I win this whole thing, I get to put you in a dress and heels and do your makeup. You also gotta wear it the whole day," I say with a smirk, as he gives me a glare. "And if I win?" "The fuck would I know? It's your choice." A smirk comes across his face as he stares me dead in the eye. "If I win, you gotta take me shopping with 2 weeks' worth of your weekly allowance." A loud gasp comes out of my mouth as I stare at the growing grin on that stupid blonde's face. "You monster. It's that or no deal." "Fine, but I'm definitely going to bet you." I stick my hand out to shake his hand as the two of us glare at each other. "Don't count on it." "Is everyone ready?" The event's about to begin. Wish I could have worn my costume. "They're not allowed in the interest of fairness." Midoriya. The seriousness in that popsicle's tone caught my attention as I turned to look at him. "Todoroki. What is it?" The class goes silent as they watch the interaction between the two. "Objectively speaking, I'm stronger than you. More capable." "Huh, sure. All Might's got his eye on you, doesn't he? Damn, so it is that obvious." Now I'm not about to pry into why that is, but I will beat you. He turned towards our little group as Deidara and I looked like gossiping teens, whispering back and forth about the interaction. "You 6 are strong, probably the strongest in our class. But the way you're treating this as a game instead of an important event shows how much confidence you have in yourself. That's going to be your downfall and where I'll beat you. Just for that I'm going to make sure to beat you." "That was mean, Todoroki-senpai. Cocky bastard. I'll have fun beating the shit out of you." Oh, a declaration of war from the strongest in the class. "Hey man, why pick a fight now? We're about to go on. I really don't care. I'm not pretending to be anyone's friend here." "Todoroki. I'm not sure why you felt the need to tell me you'll beat me. You're clearly stronger, and I can't measure up to the others here in skill. Objectively speaking, even." "Don't be so negative, Midoriya. No need. This poor redhead kid keeps getting cut off. But everyone, even the kids from the other courses, are aiming for the top. The strongest hero. And well, let me say this. I'm not gonna fall behind." Greeny looks up with determination across his face. "I'm going for it too. With everything I've got." "Right. Everyone line up. It's time to head out," Ida exclaims as everyone stands up and walks out into the hallway. The cheers from the crowd could be heard as we walked closer and closer to the entrance. It's UA's sports festival. The one time each year when our fledgling heroes compete in a ruthless grand battle. The loud, obnoxious voice of that banana-haired hero shook the building as he spoke. "First up. You know who I'm talking about. The miraculous rising stars who brushed off a villain attack with their steely willpower. We almost reached the end of the tunnel. The first years of the hero course. Finally walking out of that very long tunnel. We were met with a ginormous crowd of adults ready to watch a bunch of children fight for entertainment. It's Class 1A. They're really giving us too much credit. But we won't let it shake us, right, Bakugo? Nope. Just gets me pumped up. Following Class 1B, it's Classes 1C, D, and E of General Studies. And here come the support course classes, F, G, and H, and the business course. Whoa, what a crowd. And we're expected to put on the best performance we can in front of so many spectators. I suppose this is merely one more necessary skill if we hope to become heroes. We're just here to make the others look good. Hard to get motivated. I scanned over the crowd, a few individuals catching my attention. Specifically the man that was on fire, Todoroki NG. #2 Pro Hero, envies Mr. Buff Guy. Maybe he could be helpful. My attention was pulled away by a woman with a whip standing on the stage. Now for the athlete's oath. R-rated? Should she really be in a high school? Shut it, she exclaims before composing herself once more. Pipe down. The original choice stepped down from the position, so your new student representative is. From Class 1A, Uchiha in. Geez, nobody could have told me ahead of time, I grumble, walking up to the stairs of the stage. This is going to be hilarious, thanks for the comment, Deidara. She placed second in the entrance exam, right? The hero course entrance exam, you mean? I finally made it up to the top of the steps, walking towards the microphone. I stood there for a second as the stadium went silent. I'm going beat all you losers. Boo-woo. You dirty bastard. Why must you show contempt for the dignity of this event? Don't get cocky. I'm not being cocky, I'm just telling the truth, freak, I say into the microphone before walking off stage. The cries of the group of students becoming louder, not that I cared. Overconfident jerk. I'll be the one to crush her. Who even are you again? I wave the boy off as I walk back towards Itachi. You really had to ask them for me to go up instead of you, I say, as I stand beside the older boy. I felt that you would be able to deliver the speech without boring the crowd, and it looks like I was correct. There was a small smile on his face as he glanced down at me before back onto the stage where Midnight started talking again. Now, without any delay, let's get the first event started. The screen behind the stage started to spin as everyone stared at it nervously. Not me, of course, since I'm amazing. These are qualifiers. It's in this stage that so many are sent home crying every year. And the fateful first event this year is an obstacle course race. Midnight calls out. It's a race between every member of all 11 classes. The course is a 4-kilometer lap around the stadium itself. Our school preaches freedom in all things. Ha ha ha, so as long as you don't go off the course, anything is fair game. Everyone moves towards the front gates. I stay towards the back, because just looking at the tunnel, I know that everyone's gonna get stuck. I would rather not get squished between a bunch of sweaty, smelly teenagers who don't know how to put deodorant on. Aimed at kids from my school. Racers, to your positions. The light on the gate flicks from red to yellow before it turns green, and a loud buzz goes off. I watch as everyone tries to push through as I jump and put chakra on my feet to stick to the wall, and then climb onto the ceiling. Landing on the ground at the end of the tunnel, I start to sprint off towards the next part. I could sense the other 5 close behind me as we ran. Suddenly there was a cold breeze as the ground was covered in a thick sheet of ice. I quickly jump to not get stuck as I place more chakra in my feet, so I don't slip. Youch. I'm all frozen. Can't move. So cold. That bastard. Banana Man, Mummy Man. Are you ready for our live coverage and commentary? Hobo, not voluntarily. I slow down as I look at the giant robots in front of me, Tobai walking forward and phasing through the robots. Glancing up, I could see Deidara flying over the robots on a bird and dropping little bombs down onto the robots. Can't wait to see how that turns out. Jumping up. I go to punch one of the robot's arms before using the side to push myself past them. I heard a high-pitched scream as I glanced down at the little grape boy getting smashed by a robot arm. Bnha. I try to hold in my laugh as he goes rolling. Banana Man, every obstacle course needs obstacles. Starting with the first barrier. Robo Inferno. Hey, wait, 6-1 students have already gotten past this. Aizawa, what are you feeding them? Hobo, it's called proper training. I keep running forwards before stopping at a bunch of cliffs with ropes attached to them. Could this get any less easier? I mumble before jumping to each platform. It's basically tree hopping, but with bigger foot space. Banana Man, 1A's Todoroki, busting through and sabotaging the others in one move. This guy's cold. So everyone is still at the robots. How lame are these guys? Banana Man, in the lead of our race, we have 1A's 6-star students already finishing our second obstacle. They're going through this race like it's a breeze in the park. This is the fall. Banana Man. The first event is the obstacle course race. It's a lap around this stadium made just for today. Hobo, hey. Banana Man, according to the rules, anything's fair game as long as our contestants stay in bounds. It's a harsh game of chicken. And all the action is brought to you by the camera robots at each location. Hobo, you really don't need me here, do you? How long is this run? I didn't sign up for a marathon, I comment, as the 5 of us ran since someone was flying in the air and taking a nap. You've run a lot longer than this without breaks. You're fine, Sasori says as he keeps his eyes up ahead, using his strings to help pull himself forward. Doesn't mean I wanted to, puppet freak. I call out before ducking as a thread flies my way. Looking up, I make eye contact with a glaring Sasori. Banana Man, 1A's Kirishima was crushed. How are there still people at the first thing? It's not even that hard. I don't know, man. What weaklings. Banana Man, down low didn't work for 1A's Bakugo. So he took the high road. Clever. The current leaders of the pack are overwhelmingly from Class A. Hobo, Class A knows there's no time to hesitate. They've been exposed to the outside world, up close and personal. They've had that fear planted in them, and they've endured it. Overcome it. Each has grown from that experience and forgotten how to hesitate. Up ahead, I could see what looked to be a big land of dirt that looked very beat up and patchy. For this, I made the distance between obstacles really long, so they have to run a lot to get to each thing. Hobo, why'd those idiots stop moving? Banana Man. Meanwhile, the leaders of the pack move on undaunted. Todoroki is slowly catching up to our leading 6 runners, who have just made it to our third obstacle, this minefield. It's a deadly Afghan carpet. A quick glance is enough to reveal the mine's locations, so keep both eyes open and watch your step. I should mention our mines don't pack a deadly punch, but they're loud and flashy enough that you might need a change of underwear when it's all over. Hobo, depending on the individual, of course. I use Earth Release to make areas I could step on and would disappear once I did so. I start to sprint as I see Deidara getting closer to the finish line, disregarding the others. Banana Man. It looks like Tsukui from Bnha has taken the lead as he flies on his gigantic bird. Get excited, mass media. You guys love this sort of turnaround. But the rest are catching up. Deidara passed through the finish line first, as I was a sliver behind him. Itachi followed right behind me along with Kisame, then Sasori, and lastly Deidara. Banana Man. There you have it, folks. Tsukui Deidara from Class 1A in first place with Uchiha in following right behind him in second. Uchiha Itachi following into third place with Hoshigaki Kisame and Akasuna no Sasori in fourth and fifth. And in sixth place, Tobai, I'm rooting for you, dude. I slowly turn to face Deidara, my fist clenched together as I give him the nasty glare. That stupid blonde gives me a cocky smirk as he flips his hair back. I can smell the money I'm going already, and let me tell you, it smells real good. Shut up, you pig. You're probably going to buy food with all that money because you're so fat. I yell, about to pounce onto the male as Itachi grabs a hold of me and covers my mouth. And try not to say such rude things. You're going to get us kicked out, and then Pain-sama won't be too happy. Whatever. I sit crisscross applesauce on the ground. Come sit. Let's play Uno, because who knows how long these people are going to take to finish. Banana Man, Bakugo, and Todoroki are in the lead. They're about to cross the finish line and place in top 10. A loud boom could be heard throughout the area, slightly shaking the building. Banana Man and Class A's Midoriya rides the wave in hot pursuit. Or something. It's like a war zone out here. Let's take a look how our winners are feeling playing Uno. That looks like one intense game right there. What the hell? How is he down to one card already? I yell, glaring at Itachi as he just called Uno. I could see Deidara fuming from beside Itachi with his 30 cards true story starring me. Sasori sat there reading a book because he's a nerd. Tobai was being his normal happy self, even with like 20 cards. Kisama looked like he wanted to smash someone's head, and Itachi looked normal. Does everyone have a pickup card? I say we all stack them, Kisama suggests, a grin as he sat on the other side of Itachi. I've been waiting for this. Deidara puts down 4 plus 2s. Tobai puts down 1. I put 1 down and then Kisame. Not gonna win now, HM. Apologies. Itachi puts down his last card, which was a red plus 2. I stared at the card before throwing all my down as all of us started yelling and pulling hair. Banana Man, none other than Izuku Midoriya. Looking up, I see Greenie running through the tunnel as tears started to run down his face. A stoic candy cane boy and fuming hedgehog following after. Banana Man, racers cross the finish line one after the other. We'll go over the standings later, so catch you breathe for now. We will have a rematch later. I glare at Itachi as I stand up and dust my pants off.